All right, welcome to episode 143 of The School of S.H.R.E.D. This is the show that's designed to help you shred your old, make better your new, and combine forces to create this thing called holistic health, which is mental health, spiritual health, and physical health. They're all related. All systems are connected in the body. We are done separating these. So on this show, we talk a little bit about mindset. We talk a little bit about detoxing our life, and we talk a little bit and a lot of bit about diet and exercise. So today I have my puppy, Mr. Charles, sitting down here. You're not going to bark today, are you? No, he's going to be a good boy down here. So he's hanging out with me. It's take a dog to work day. So he's my little shadow today. So I hope you all are having a good week. Welcome to episode 143. This is our Q&A Friday, number 24 this week. We got 3 questions we're going to rip through real quick, and we'll get you on with your day. Hope everybody's had a good week. The show is here Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. That's on Facebook, on YouTube, and Instagram. You can watch the videos on those 3 platforms. And then we're also on Spotify and iTunes for audio only. So you can take the show on the go, take the school on the go with you wherever you may be. If you're going out for a walk, if you are getting them steps in, if you're getting a workout in, if you're in your car, just search The School of S.H.R.E.D on iTunes or Spotify. And before we get going, if you get value out of this episode, if you learn something new, please share this. Help the show grow organically. That's the only toll that I ask of you personally, is just share this if you find value in it today. If you want to learn more about what I do with online personal training, go to www.theschoolofshred.com, and you can learn about the really unique, cool program that I've put together for online training. So with that said, let's get into it today. We're going to pull up the questions. So question number 1. All right, let's see here. We got hold on. We got no picture. Michael, are you getting picture now? I'm going to continue. All right, so question number 1 is, what's the best way to lose 3 to 5 pounds of holiday weight? So the best way to lose 3 to 5 pounds of holiday weight is to set up a diet that is going to reduce inflammation, because when we reduce inflammation, we get rid of the water weight that is lingering and might be adding to excessive body fat. So inflammation shunts all body fat loss. Inflammation is the starter of every disease that we know of, and so the thing that I would suggest doing is setting up a diet that is an anti-inflammatory type diet. So for some, that might be reducing carbohydrate intake for a short period of time. For others, it might be getting rid of things like dairy or soy, or certain things that might have they might have an intolerance to. Maybe like beans, things that can cause inflammation, cause if you have like stiff fingers, puffy cheeks, GI distress, problems like that, that's going to stop fat burn. And so what you want to do is set up a diet that can get rid of that first. Exercising obviously helps, and then fasting helps reduce inflammation and bring insulin low. You want to also take care of insulin. We've talked about that before. You can take care of insulin by you can do it by fasting. You can do it by low carbohydrate eating, right, and higher fat eating, with even keeping protein moderate. Because every food is going to secrete insulin from the pancreas. Insulin is a storage hormone. So in order to burn fat, we need to be producing less insulin in a long-term type state. So that is something that we want to be looking at. So, people that are really big on being in a calorie deficit, I'm going to talk about counting calories. When you bring calories down, you're going to control insulin to a certain degree. When you bring carbohydrates down, you're going to bring insulin down as well. So you could do a high-fat, low-carb type diet. You can count your calories if you want to. That's another way to do it, another very effective way. But anyway, the big thing is inflammation, is getting inflammation down and getting insulin down. So the best diet for that is going to be one that you're not over-consuming calories and you are reducing inflammation. So get rid of the water weight. There's a lot of ways to go about this, so there's not really one exact answer. It's a case-by-case basis, but the general rule being you need to be in a calorie deficit and you need to have low insulin levels. So I wouldn't recommend being in a calorie deficit and eating nothing but sugar, but most people wouldn't do that because most people are responsible. So that is it for question 1. Let's move on. Seems like we're having some tech difficulties on Facebook, but it looks like it's good from my end here, so we're just going to have to roll with it. Okay, so here we go. Number 2 is, are naps good or bad? So naps, they are good. So this is actually a really good question. So naps are good. Anytime you can regenerate and rest the body, it's a good thing. So little mid-afternoon naps can be very beneficial, especially for those people who don't get 7 to 9 hours of sleep a night. A 15 to 30-minute power nap in the middle of the day can be very good and very beneficial. Indigenous folks and our ancestral type of living, our ancestors used to take naps. There's a reason you get a little mid-afternoon low, and it's because of circadian rhythm. So if you have a good, healthy circadian rhythm, you're supposed to get a little bit tired in the afternoon. A lot of people think that it's from having lunch. That can also happen, but when you combine that insulin dump with natural circadian rhythm flow, you're going to get a little bit of a parasympathetic response in the middle of the day, which is a great time to take a nap. So there's a few ways to do this. I like taking naps after I eat a meal, if I have a meal, in early afternoon. And then also I like to do a caffeine nap. So if you've ever tried this, it's pretty cool. You can do like a cup of coffee or whatever kind of caffeine you enjoy, and then go to bed. So you actually take your nap. So you drink your coffee. It sounds crazy. It sounds like it wouldn't work. You drink your coffee, you take your nap, and what happens when you wake up is you don't have any of that groggy, like tired, lethargic type feeling. If you get a good nap, and sometimes you wake up more tired, so it's not worth it. Well, if you do this where you drink caffeine before you take the nap, so say you start getting sleepy, you drink your caffeine and you lay down. I recommend getting those eye covers. Those really help and can be beneficial. Super beneficial for me. I've been using those for a couple months now, the eye covers, and puts me out quick. And I only take 15 to 30 minute naps. There has been days where I've taken 1 to 2 hour naps, but that's usually you're kind of getting a deep sleep there. So I wouldn't recommend those daily. But anyway, the 15 to 30 minute caffeine nap. So you have the caffeine before, take your nap, wake up, you'll be supercharged and ready to go for the rest of your day. And it's good. I think a lot of us, we've talked about before, the way society is structured, everything's go all the time. We're usually in some type of a fight or flight state, and we're not in this rest and relax, rest and digest type state enough. So it's going to help us grow muscle. It's going to help us balance out our hormones, keep testosterone high, which is like our longevity hormone. It's going to help everything, getting a good amount of rest, and then we can go charge the rest of the day. And what we're doing is we're balancing out that CNS, that central nervous system. So naps are definitely a beneficial thing. Very good question. Number 3, here we go. All right, so the last one of the day is, what's your recommendation for reducing hunger levels? So recommendations for reducing hunger levels. So recommendations for reducing hunger levels, the main thing that I would say is eat foods that are satiating. So this is why I'm a big fan of higher fat, lower carbohydrate eating. It makes the most sense, specifically because we know that there is a law of thermodynamics where we want this calories in, calories out. The longer you get into a diet, the more you're going to have to cut your calories down a little bit. In the beginning, you might actually need to eat more to speed the metabolism up, but you're still going to be in a calorie deficit if the metabolism speeds up and you're eating more. It can be very tricky. This is what I talk about. I think it confuses people when we say you just got to be in a calorie deficit. That's why I try to give full context and talk about hormones and how they regulate things. But anyway, eventually you get far enough into a diet, you are probably going to start eating less and less and less, okay? Unless you got one of those awesomely dumb metabolisms that just doesn't figure it out. I've had clients like that before, and I'm very jealous, where they can get super lean on like 2,800 calories and they weigh about as much as me, 2,800 calories a day. But anyway, so in order to do that, there's a few things you want to look at. Number 1 is eating fats. So, for a lot of folks, eating more dietary fat and eating less carbohydrates helps them auto-regulate their appetite better, calories being equal, okay? Because there's a lot of folks that like to say that, fat is 9 calories per gram, it's twice as calorically dense, so it might not be the best idea because you can overconsume calories quickly. You can overconsume calories quickly, but if you were to eat the same amount, you're going to be more satiated in a lot of cases, right? Sometimes not, but I've trained a lot of people and I've explored a lot and with these folks, and most people are going to be nice and full and satiated, and they feel like they're eating too much when they have a higher fat diet. When I start giving them more carbohydrates, they tend to be hungrier and they get a little bit more ravenous, or they suffer from inconsistent energy levels and things like that. Some people operate great off carbohydrates, so I think it's important to not fall into one camp and to try things out. These are all tools. There's tools in the tool shed here. The basics of a good diet, in my opinion, is whole food, natural whole food that's been around for hundreds of years in one way or another. Fruits, vegetables, potatoes and naturally grown carbohydrates like that are going to be the best. With meats, nose to tail type eating, that's like the top tier, stuff that grows naturally like that. How you want to split your macronutrients, you got to play with that as time goes on. But for reducing hunger, I'm a big fan of higher fat. The next thing that I would recommend, other than higher fat, maybe reducing carbohydrates and swapping those calories out with dietary fat, would be, protein is said to be very satiating as well. Protein is good because it usually comes with fat. I mean, that, if you're getting it from meat and animal products, you're usually going to get some fat, some protein. I'm not really, I've heard a lot of people, credible people say that protein is the most satiating macronutrient. I don't really buy that. I think it's fat. I'm not really buying the protein. I think protein can be satiating, but I gotta tell you, I mean, fat will fill me up a lot quicker and actually turn me off to eating quicker than eating a bunch of protein will. So, but both those can help. The big one, another big one, is eating a lot of vegetables. So vegetables are very low calorically dense foods. Okay, so there's a low calorie density to your vegetables, things like broccoli or green beans or salad. But what they do is, so they fill up the stomach, and the receptors that are in our stomachs that signal that we're full, they get signaled quicker when we have this high volume, low calorie type foods. All right. So vegetables nowadays, there's the carnivore community that rightly so is challenging how much nutrition is really in vegetables. It's not as much nutrition as what's in things like organ meats, like grass-fed beef liver and meat. That is objective measurement stuff, science. So, vegetables don't have as much nutrition, but they do have a lot of nutrition. And again, even if they're filler with some vitamins, water-soluble vitamins for the most part, they're filler with water-soluble vitamins to make sure we're not reaching vitamin deficiencies. They bring some fiber, which is good for the gut microbiome, and they help keep us full. And so, and then fiber also helps reduce blood sugar. So they're definitely super beneficial. And vegetable can be a dieter's best friend, or somebody who's trying to eat, healthy. Honestly, I wouldn't even say a dieter. If you want to be healthy and live healthy, there's two tools that I utilize when I'm trying to live this lifestyle, because this is what I do. I don't have on and off. It's just a lifestyle. And if that's the kind of life that you want, where you're always lean, you're always relatively lean, then, the things that I do to do that is higher fat, lower carbohydrate eating, because I'm not as ravenous. I don't have these up and down swings with my energy levels. I have very stable energy. My hunger is stabilized. And then I also do a lot of vegetables. So I do meat and vegetables. That's like the basis of my personal diet. Now you have to figure out what is going to work best for you. But for hunger, that's what I feel like is the two places to look, right? Is maybe experiment with a little bit more fats and then more vegetables to help fill your stomach up. And just trying to stay away from things that have vegetable oils and these industrialized oils that are not good for us, that are inflammatory, that are highly prone to oxidation and creating free radicals in our body and causing insulin resistance, over consuming processed sugar, and then just eating things that bring a lot of calories into the body but don't bring a lot of volume, so those receptors in our stomach aren't getting the signals that we're full. Okay, and it just happens to be a lot of processed food tends to do this. So just saying processed food is bad is one thing, but explaining the fact that when you have these industrialized oils, okay, that you can't burn off, so your cells are hungry still because you're not fed on a micronutrition level, and then excessive carbohydrates that come in with it, and there's low food volume, but you're getting a lot of calories and a lot of blood sugar spikes. That explains why we want to try and stay away from a lot of processed food, these refined foods, more often than not. Of course, you're gonna fall off the rails sometimes. I think a healthy lifestyle, it's certain you should every now and again. But I think when we're talking about healthy nutrition, for the most part, right, most of the time should be spent doing stuff like that, as reducing these processed foods and whatnot. So eventually you can have a cupcake or a piece of pie or whatever, right? So not the worst thing in the world. So anyway, that is number 3. That's it. We only had 3 questions today. So thanks for hanging out this week, you guys. Hope everybody had a good week. Stay strong and healthy in body. Stay relentless and energized in spirit. Stay determined in your pursuits. Have a good weekend. That's Spill Shred. Now go shred the weekend and get better in every way. Get your workouts in. Get your steps in. Stay positive. Stay happy. Work from the inner to the outer right now. All right. The world's crazy. Don't allow the outer. Don't work outer to inner. Right. Don't let the outer world, the external world, affect your inner peace. Right. Make inner peace and bring that out into the world. All right. Have a good weekend. We'll see you next week.